light and gentle strength of God. In the world of separation, gentleness does not equate with strength. And yet, in the truth of love, love is gentle, love is kind, and is the strength of the whole universe. To the mind that believes in separation, this is beyond comprehension. And yet, the truth of oneness is in that gentle awareness that there is nothing to get, that all the strength, all the gentleness, all the kindness that has an unlimited source has no limitation in any way, but to learn the truth of strength and to learn its relationship to gentleness and kindness is the schoolroom of love. It goes so beyond the words, the name strength, the name gentleness is a concept. But in the journey of remembering love, the spirit of love takes you, holds your hand and takes you into that exquisite schoolroom and teaches through your everyday life. It will teach you the truth of gentleness. Within gentleness is compassion, also to be learned. Compassion is so often mistaken for pity in the world. The belief in losing something, the belief that you can be without. All of these teachings, all the journey of learning is a dedication that is unknown to the world in general. And those who are called to find their way to gentleness and strength are the ones who have heard the call to God, to return home. The Spirit of Love calls each beloved that has heard this call to step deeply into the willingness to learn. The learning is a quiet place. It's an intimate place where truth is illuminated. And in the honesty of the heart, the truth is accepted. In the world of the belief of separation, There's a belief that everything is a battleground and that you need to be convinced of what you believe in. But in the truth of love, there is no convincing. There is an acceptance. And in that acceptance, there's a realization of how could I possibly know this with the mind that made separation? I have to trust in the teachings of love and follow and learn how to deepen into each truth. And I have to learn to trust in the power of God, the power of love, that my mind cannot understand. But the heart that accepts the truth of love and the teachings of love, the heart expands as the truth is accepted. It expands and connects to the universe that is all love. It comes back to its natural state eventually in the journey of love. In each moment of each day, situations come and go, but always in each moment of each day is the relationship of learning. Everything that occurs, everything that is perceived is the opportunity of learning. Learning to love, learning to forgive, learning to illuminate with the Holy Spirit the beliefs that stand in the way of peace. The schoolroom that runs all day, all night, is a place of great joy to realize that this incarnation has been given to such perfection as to remember and learn the truth of who you are. All the other lifetimes were spent developing a false identity. But this lifetime is the learning time of the Spirit of Love. The Spirit of Love is always waiting, always available for each beloved to say yes. And those who have said yes are taken through a willingness into a deep learning that has no comparisons within the world. A beautiful place of learning from the masters of the universe that love so fully and deeply that only love can be offered. Happily teaching and showing the way. Each day, 100 or 1,000 opportunities come to bring sacred teachings into the moment. That all of the relationship of learning has this perfect schoolroom in each day. Maybe you wake up in the morning and think, oh, I know what this day is going to be about. I know what it's going to look like, and I know what it's for. But love is whispering behind that knowing and saying, let go of what you think you know that this day is for. And just remember that this day is for the learning of love. Be available. Be present as possible to learn. To question the thoughts that come automatically and surrender those thoughts into the hands of God, into the hands of Spirit, emptying the mind of the habits of the past and truly inviting the truth to lead the way, to learn of gentleness, to learn of devotion, to learn of forgiveness, to learn of every aspect of love. And in that learning of love, the lies that have been made in the past of separation begin to melt away, begin to actually unravel. That is the power of your yes, your willingness to surrender the past and all that you thought you knew, and to happily accept only the peace and harmony of love. In this moment, the willingness to affirm the purpose of your life and to let that affirmation of truth settle into the heart and be at the center of purpose. In this moment, the willingness to accept that here in the infinite circle of love, all is oneness. To be willing to have the senses cleansed of all the differences that have been held in the name of individuals, all of the identities that have been given to each beloved who has walked this earth, and to truly come back to the holy union of love with all creation, to forgive all of the false identities that have been placed on each beloved, and be willing to remember their holiness, their perfection, the light that is the reflection of God, to see only through the heart. and let go of all knowing that you've carried for all these lifetimes. To affirm in this moment that the universe is all love. Nothing else is true. Everything else that is perceived has been made up and has lived as a nightmare of separation. The sanctuary is filled with love because there is nothing else. Your heart is filled with love because there is nothing else. But to open the heart is to allow that love to pour, undefended, not looking for anything in return, but pouring it in divine equality. Pouring love in divine equality, not those who have, in your limited mind of separation, earned love, but to recognize that no one is here to earn love. Everyone is here to remember that you are all love, nothing else. There is only one presence here in this universe, and it is the life force of God. Everywhere you can look, everything that you touch is the life force of God. As you join your awareness into the life force of God and learn through the teachings of love, the mysteries of this life force, you join in that life force. Love will take you into the life force of creation. Only one presence here. Surrendering all the senses into the hands of God to only be used to see and feel and recognize love. In every moment, this is the prayer. If you choose to use every moment to its divine potential, its divine truth, and to bask in the peace of devotion. How glorious it is to be in that devotion moment to moment, of devoting every moment to remembering love. Allow this to be the prayer that wakes you up in the morning and soothes you to sleep, praying to remember all the devotion of love itself, and to learn to offer love moment to moment in the glory of all creation. Gentleness, kindness, compassion, strength. As you allow this prayer to fill your heart with the teaching of love, you learn to rest in that teaching, gladly having that divine teaching in your heart, feeling the grace of love as you hold every teaching in your heart. Sister, brother, pay keen attention. Go very, very slowly to not mistake your path. Sister, brother, keep your feet on the ground. Be careful with your pride. Be careful with your vanity. Sister, sister, go very, very slowly. Be careful with the traps of life in your path. Sister, brother, journey with attention, sincerity in the heart, to walk well on this earth. To walk well on this earth is truly to recognize that you have one purpose here on earth, using it with the sincerity in the heart of your true intention. Why is this teaching calling to go very, very slowly? Because the mind, the ego mind of separation in its fear runs as fast as it can. It's grabbing onto the future, constantly trying to protect and defend against an unknown enemy and be in a protection through the mind and using the body as a place of fear. But as you learn to go very, very slowly, consciously, you're walking on your path with intention to learn and available to the Spirit of Love for the constant teachings. Keep your feet on the ground, meaning to stay very present as possible in this moment, and have that willingness to learn. Be careful with your pride and your vanity. The purpose of this teaching is to recognize that there is a pride and that there is vanity within the structure of the ego that says, I know, I can figure this out. I'm the one who knows and can tell everybody else what everything is. But remembering that pride and vanity are fear itself. It's not about a fake humility, but the truth of humility that is aware and accepting that only love is real and that everything is about learning. The willingness to surrender pride of knowing and judgment and opinions. All of it surrendered. Journey with attention. The call of the everyday journey to learn the way of love. All teachings lead to the same place, back to love, back to this divine learning. Oh, my Holy Mother, my Mother of Conception, may you come to us now and open our hearts. To open up my heart so that I can truly see. Come to guide my life, my Blessed Mother. Come and give light and illuminate all beings. Come and bring clarity to all beloveds. Come and bring the light of illumination to those who can't see the truth of love. Come to give light to the heart Let it be illuminated and opened. Here I receive you and I prostrate myself at your feet. I give you my heart and I ask you for deeper faith. I ask you for this deeper faith here within my heart. I ask you to illuminate my way so that I can follow the truth of love. Guide me with all beloveds, for all of us to come to the door of truth and remember the truth of all love. Oh, minha Senhora Mãe, Senhora da Conceição, venha agora conosco, abrir meu coração, para poder ver, vem guia minha vida. Ó Virgem da Conceição, aqui a te recebo, prostrado aos vossos pés, meu coração te dou, te peço a minha fé, guia os meus irmãos, para todos juntos chegar no porto divino, depois que soubemos amar. Here, Divine Mother, I prostrate myself at your feet. Prostrating at the feet of truth is truly symbolic. It is an act of letting go. It is a demonstration of wanting to follow and a devotion that's opening in the heart that has never been known in the world. The world's belief of devotion is one of a false devotion to false things, looking for reciprocity, looking for being acknowledged. But this is not that. To prostrate yourself at the feet of love is to recognize, teach me the way of love. Let this day be a day of learning. Let me use every moment for its divine purpose. And I will learn because I will be available. There's a never-ending flow of light and love that wants to teach you the way. It becomes so simple. All that has to be part of the equation is letting go of the mind of what's been known in the past and open to what is here now to be learned through the voice of love that speaks to you in the stillness, in your willingness. In need of the breath. My heart is an unset jewel. Upon the tender night, yearning for the dear old friend, the moon. When the nameless one debuts here again, 1,000 facets of my being unfurl wings and reveal such a radiance inside, I enter a realm divine. I too begin to so sweetly cast light, like a lamp through the streets of this world. My heart is an unset jewel upon existence waiting for the friend's touch. Tonight, my heart is an unset ruby offered, bowed, and weeping to the sky. I am dying in these cold hours for the resplendent glance of God. I am dying because of a divine remembrance of who and what I really am. Your soul is a brilliant reed instrument in need of the breath of the Christ. In need of the breath is that place within that recognizes how much yearning, if you allow it, how much yearning there is to have that breath of the Christ, the holiness, breathe into your heart, to awaken the heart to its true nature, its divineness, its gentleness, its strength. This is the search and the journey of each beloved who walked this earth and remembered, and then turned to serve as a master. Every beloved walked basically the same path, no different than the path that you are asked to walk and given to walk. It didn't matter what century each master lived in. The journey was basically the same. The remembering of the divine breath of Christ in the heart, the learning of gentleness and the learning of strength, the unraveling of the pride and the arrogance of the identity that was made in a false notion of separation. It does take a beautiful place of humility to accept, I don't know. You can say the words, I don't know, but to truly enter into the realization that nothing that has been learned from the moment of incarnation, nothing that has been learned in each lifetime has worth, because it was all self-configured. It was all self-concepts of the belief of a world living in separation with separate bodies and separate identities, and none of it was reality. And each master awakens to that. And it's always through, it's not by chance. They didn't wake up by chance. They woke up with a deep devotion within of wanting to learn the truth, the mysteries of the universe, and to come home to God. Your worth is not established by learning or by teaching. Your worth is already in place. Your learning is what opens the door to that awareness, to learn the mysteries of oneness within the world, because there is oneness right here. It's not someplace else, it's here. And it's to open the heart to that awareness of the oneness. Nothing you do or think has anything to do with establishing your worth. Your worth is already established. But if you accept that your worth is established, then you have to accept that everyone's worth is established in exactly the same equality. No one has a different worth. No one has less, and no one has more. Because what you have is maximum. You are the light of God. There is no other worth. And there is no one who has less of that value. They may believe that they are worthless, just as you have believed that you were worthless in different moments, in different situations, and for a greater part all over. Everyone has believed in their worthlessness, been so afraid of being worthless. But to accept your worth is to accept the journey of love and the teachings of love. It doesn't establish your worth, but it lets you open to your awareness of that divine worth, which has always been here, always. My heart is an unset jewel upon existence, waiting for the friend's touch. The friend's touch, the touch of God. How do you open to the touch of God? By letting go of what you think you know. Because everything that has been made up in the mind of your identity and your belief in the past, your belief of good and bad and right and wrong, all of the levels and degrees that have been made up are the barriers that have been made against the remembering of love. There's a way of being in the everyday life that seems to be elusive. It's elusive because even though the teaching is there is no good or bad, there is no right or wrong, all of those have been made up to split everything into the rules that you've carried in your mind as what is going to keep you safe. But in actuality, since there is no good or bad, each moment of every day is a place of learning, and only that. Now, you walk through the day and you wake up in the morning and you have an instant opinion. You look at the weather and judge the weather of how it's going to be, and you think it's good or bad. All day long, this is going on. You can't find your keys. Do you stop and actually ask, what is the teaching here that I can't find these keys? Or are you in an automatic upset because you can't find your keys, and you have a whole story that goes with that because now you're going to be late and you're going to be upset and you're going to have an opinion about it, instead of there is a learning here. What is the learning for me in not finding the keys? It's not good or bad. Not finding your keys has no good or bad to it. It's all for learning. It's a learning of trust. It's a learning of patience. It's a learning of recognizing that you are not a slave to time, that you are not under the authority of the world to show up on time, but that you are in the hands of God, and that everything is a learning. Doesn't matter what the learning is. And it doesn't matter what the situation is. The tendency, the automatic habit of giving it an identity of good or bad sets you up for your entire day of doing the same thing with everything, deciding that unconsciously everything is good or bad. You like it, you don't like it. You agree with it, you don't agree with it. All of these are the same opinions. They're the same judgments. And they invoke the same reactions day in and day out. You have a reaction that you can't find your keys, and the reaction is upset because you have deemed it to be, in a nanosecond, you have deemed it to be that not finding your keys is bad. It's wrong. It's going to wreck your day, whatever. Instead of, this is the first lesson of the day. This is the first teaching. To be able to trust that there is a learning here. Maybe the learning is just to let go, learn to let go of all reactions that are personal. Because the personal reactions, the personal way of seeing that that is not to your liking, and you have set it as something bad, is where your pain is coming from. The pain is not coming from not finding your keys. It's from the mind that decided that not finding your keys means that it is wrong or bad. And you suffer from your own mind. That is what the Spirit of Love is wanting to teach you through the divine teachings of truth, that there is no good or bad. How can there be a good or bad, a right or wrong? How can there be separation and differences when everything is only love? And because there is nothing in God that wants you to suffer, the teaching is calling you to recognize that as you judge during your day and categorize things as what you like and what you don't like, what is successful, what is not successful, it becomes your suffering. As soon as you can't find your keys, what is a typical reaction is a judgment on yourself. Where did you put your keys? Why are you losing your keys? Why can't you put the keys someplace where they can be found? Instead of recognizing that this is exactly the teaching place that the Holy Spirit is taking you, to recognize that there is no right or wrong here. There is no wrongdoing. There is no winning. There is no losing. There is no other authority that has made a decision other than the ego in your own mind that has decided that you made a terrible mistake by losing your keys. Instead of being able to truly embrace the teaching. Be very, very careful with life on your path. This is the going very slowly and recognizing at the core of this simple thing is the principles of truth or the lies that have been made up in your mind. How many lifetimes have you carried the belief that of right and wrong? Every single one. It's an agreement. It's an agreement that is always attacking. If something goes well, then there is a belief in the ego that says, oh, I like that. That went really well. Nothing goes well or not. It's all perfect. There's no good situation and bad situation. It's either all for learning of truth and surrender and being more free and unraveling the identity, or it's used for regurgitating the lies of being wrong and bad. But it's all made up in the mind. And it it distracts everyone from the purpose of learning. So if you just take that simple truth that there is no good or bad, there are no differences in value of anything. You are making it a different value. Everything either promotes learning or it promotes the belief of separation. Let's say someone calls you and says, will you meet me at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? And you say yes, and then you forget. Where's the learning? The learning is the place of happiness, that there is something to learn here. You forgot. It's going to be for the beloved who invited you at 10 o'clock and you who forgot the 10 o'clock. Both have the opportunity of learning that nothing has happened except the opportunity of forgiveness, to see that nothing was done to anyone. Now, the guilt that the beloved who forgot to go, if they're carrying guilt and feeling terrible, in the world, that's supposed to be righteous. You should feel terrible. You didn't show up. Doesn't matter that it was a mistake. You're now condemned for not showing up. The beloved who invited you had the choice to remember love and offer love, and that it doesn't mean anything, and use this moment as a learning that it absolutely doesn't mean anything, because the reaction of the beloved who invited for 10 o'clock got caught in a reaction that said, I'm not respected, I'm not cared about, I'm ignored, I'm treated with ugliness, somebody's doing this to me on purpose. All kinds of things can run, and all of those are all made up. Instead, to see that each event, each circumstance is the opportunity of learning a deep truth of love. That nothing was done to anyone. Mistakes are, we don't know what they're for. If they're used by the Holy Spirit, if you surrender that circumstance to the Holy Spirit, it becomes a holy moment. It becomes the gift of transformation. It has beautifully served a divine purpose. That is the choice. The other choice of making it a condemnation, of taking it personally, of making it about you, either one, either beloved, either the one who didn't show up and forgot or the one who invited. Each one has the opportunity of deep healing, of using that situation as an opening to truth, that it meant nothing, that I cannot be hurt. There is no problem. The only problem is in the belief of separation from God. And that's not true, so there is no problem. And the willingness to forgive the forgetting. Not forgive it because it was a sin, but because it meant nothing. When you make up a story in your mind that says, I was unfairly treated, I was treated with disrespect, that is your belief about yourself. That runs all the time. It's just this situation is having the opportunity of seeing it in its fullness. But you also have the opportunity of, wait a minute, This can't be the truth because there is only peace and harmony and joy in God. So I cannot be unfairly treated. So how am I going to look at this situation and see it in loving peace and healing? Every single situation, every day is this opportunity to heal deeply. Heal deeply. When everything in your whole system wants to hook in and engage in the wrongness, the being terrible for forgetting, avoiding the other person because that's what you've always done is avoid and be embarrassed or have to grovel and say, I'm so sorry, I feel so terrible, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. I mean, it's all made up. And it's all coming from the past. It's not the truth. It's the lies of the past that are being regenerated again and again and again out of habit, instead of using that moment for divine healing, to see it differently. Let's say a beloved is in a very deep spiritual healing, and they're not available and are not called to share what's going on. It's in a quiet place. Again, the choice. Somebody says to you, I'm in a deep healing, and I'm not called to talk about it. And the other one takes it personally, takes it as a rejection, takes it as an affront of not being included and wanting to know what's going on. Each beloved, again, has the opportunity of a deep healing if they choose to use that situation for deep healing. To see that this is not about what one shares or doesn't share, but the acceptance that you don't know what it needs to look like for somebody else, and you're just there to learn to hold the space for each beloved as they have their journey within. The temptation of taking it personally, of being rejected, of the belief that you can be rejected or that you're unloved, or these are all, again, these are from the past, regurgitating again. And again, you have the opportunity of a deep healing, because you can surrender this into the hands of the Holy Spirit and say, show me, please, the teaching here. I'm willing to learn what is here to be offered. Every reaction that you have during the day is an opportunity of healing. If you have a reaction to something, it's a calling that you're believing in something, unless the reaction is joy and peace. If it's a reaction of anything else, it's made up, and it's an opportunity of healing. And it doesn't matter what the situation is. The beloved who didn't show up for the 10 o'clock meeting, that forgot, has a story that they believe in, and the one who invited has a story that they believe in. And each one has nothing really to do with the other one in what their story is. But you can bet everything on it, that everything that they react to about that is coming from their past. This is very familiar. It's not unfamiliar territory. It's not a new reaction. It's a reaction. Let's say one has believed that they need to be a perfectionist, that they need to be in control of everything that happens to them and put together a good facade of someone who is together. And they don't feel together in that moment. It's all the past. And it's all of the identity that they have been working at controlling. And where would the opportunity of healing come from if it doesn't come from every situation in the everyday life? It isn't a special classroom that you go to learn of the truth. You learn it in the everyday, moment to moment life, where each situation gives you the opportunity of healing and inviting the truth to the lies of whatever is coming up to be healed. Would you be the one that would feel guilty for not showing up at the 10 o'clock meeting? Would you be really filled with guilt for that? Or would you be able to recognize, oh gosh, I can feel the guilt coming up? There is no guilt in God. So how can I be in guilt? I'm familiar with guilt. I have felt guilt all my life. But now is my moment. Now is this moment of learning, because now I am devoting every day to learning, to being shown the way of the Spirit of love. And I refuse that guilt. I surrender the guilt that I was so tempted to join with into the hands of God, and I refuse it because only love is real. And I'm not going to hold anything else but love. This story of the 10 o'clock meeting is made up in the mind. It's a dream. And whatever is done with it, it can be turned into a nightmare if it's used for attack. If the one who invited and called about the 10 o'clock meeting, they can shake their head and say, God, that's just so typical. So typical. This person has done this several times. They're just unreliable. That judgment that beloved is carrying in the name of their own defense, and the belief that they are righteous in that, and that they have a right to this judgment and condemnation of their beloved, is now in suffering for their own judgment. And yet they have a choice. They can judge and suffer with it and stay in the belief that judgment is legitimate, or they can choose to recognize there is no judgment in God, and therefore none in me. That is the truth. If I have judgment, I am believing in something that is not real. I am believing in something that has no value and no reality, and I must love. And then the day becomes this divine schoolroom of truth and learning that would have been lost to the day if you just go along your day thinking you know, and that you knew what the day was about, when you didn't know what the day was about. It was the opportunity of learning to love and going into the mysteries within each situation, within each moment within the day. Having no opinions is a deep, deep learning, because everything in everyone wants to have opinions, because they've been used for protection. They've been used for a defense system that gives you being right. And being right then says, I can condemn because I'm right. I know. Every situation is a learning. It's not for good or bad. It's for you to learn. For you to learn in that moment what actually the Holy Spirit is bringing to you, because each situation is actually brought by the Holy Spirit to you out of your prayer that wants to learn the truth of love. Imagine that you would open to the truth of love in its gentleness when you called someone and asked them to meet you at 10 o'clock and they didn't show up. And instead of being righteous about the wanting to be upset or irritated or whatever, that instead you would bring gentleness and love and not be at the effect of it at all. That's the power that you have in the truth of love. To not be at the effect of it is a choice that you would make in the truth of love. It would take a big leap of faith to not be at the effect, because everything in your identity, in your mind, in your past would be screaming at you at the same time. Don't be a fool. This is just plain wrong that they didn't show up. I have a right to be angry. I have a right to be upset. And I have a right to never invite them again and hold it against them and use it as a weapon to prove that I'm right and to punish them because I need to punish them, because they were the cause of my distress, of my upset. No, they were not the cause of your upset. That is the primary learning of the cause and effect. Cause and effect does not come from the outside. The cause of your upset is coming from your own mind. It is not coming from the situation. You gave the meaning to the situation, and then you suffer from the situation through the meaning that you gave it. If you see it as a call for love and that it means nothing, it means nothing. And there is no suffering with it. And there is no love that is being withheld. And there is no need to punish someone else. And always remembering that if you feel the need that someone else learn a lesson or be punished for their wrongdoing, what you consider to be wrongdoing, then you are going to live in fear of the same wrongdoing and the same vengeance on you when you make a mistake. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop with that situation. It builds that if you hold that you have righteous vengeance and that you're going to punish this other beloved for their wrongdoing by never inviting them again or ignoring them or closing your heart to them or whatever it is, in believing that this was real, you're going to walk in fear because you're going to be afraid of making a similar mistake and being condemned by somebody else. That's how the game keeps being played. And that's how fear and worry about others and guilt and shame become the rule book that you live by. that's why forgiveness and the realization that forgiveness means nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. No one has done anything to me. No one has hurt me. No one has rejected me. No one has taken anything from me. How can I be the light of God, the wholeness of creation, and be unfairly treated? It's not possible. So to take all the sacred teachings and to use them in the everyday life is essential to completely throw away the rule book that has been made up of good and bad and right and wrong and success and failure, because none of it has any reality. And as soon as you jump on that bandwagon, you will suffer. It's guaranteed you'll suffer. And you'll be in more fear because you're building a fear base that has no forgiveness in it at all. And you will have to be on your toes all the time to not make mistakes so that you're not condemned as you condemned the other. It's a vicious cycle of pain, and yet the learning is right there. It's not whether somebody did something or didn't do it. No, nothing happened. And the willingness to really go deeply into that truth. To accept the teaching that to open to the truth of peace and harmony, to have that is to give all to all, which means to give forgiveness, to give the awareness that nothing has happened, to give your love. You can't give your love and condemn somebody for their behavior or not like it or be irritated by it. You cannot offer love and have an opinion about somebody's what they do or what they don't do. And yet the teaching to return home is to have and to recognize the truth of love, give all to all, which means that everyone has the same equality, that you do not have preferences of who you like and who you don't like. Give all to all. The giving is your love. And that you truly want to surrender into the hands of God all of your beliefs of liking someone more, liking someone less, being attracted to one or not attracted to another. All of it is made up and is being called to be truly, truly surrendered. That this is the way of learning that you are all love. When you only want to offer love and surrender and give that love equally, do you believe that one beloved deserves more love than another from you? That because of their behavior, because of how they've treated you, how they've acted, whatever, that you pull back from them because you don't like their behavior, because you're afraid of them, that something in them says, ooh, wait a minute, I don't trust them. But that you're called actually to love completely and to go past the fears, to really let go of the fear and truly love as deeply as possible. To open your heart and invite in each beloved fully, without exception. That is what the everyday is for, completely. To not show up at that 10 o'clock meeting is to believe that the body is not there. And the ego always uses the body for attack, for pleasure, and for pride. I'm right. They didn't show up. I have my evidence. They've done something to me. All of this is it's all the mind that is in pain and suffering. And it means nothing. But to accept that it means nothing is a leap of faith. I want to see this differently. Above all, I want to see this differently. I want to see this in the truth of love. I want to see this in the truth of forgiveness, that nothing has happened. And all the times in the past that I believed that I was unfairly treated, that's what's here. It isn't this moment, this 10 o'clock meeting. It's all the times in the past that I believed I was unfairly treated, that I was disrespected, that I was unloved, that I was pushed aside in my mind. All of these made up. And I'm not willing to allow the past to have this moment of learning. I call on the Spirit of love to show me the truth that I cannot be unfairly treated, that nothing has happened, that I can be free. The judgment of the moment always imprisons you. If you have judgment, it imprisons you. You use it to try to imprison others, but it imprisons you because your heart is now closed, and in that judgment, you are not available to love this beloved as your reflection. And it impedes your journey of remembering the truth of God. Because without remembering that they have done nothing, and that you cannot be disrespected, harmed, used, whatever your mind is making up, that's there for healing. You incarnated to heal those beliefs that keep you from the truth of oneness. It's the glory of the everyday to live in this divine schoolroom, to use the day as the schoolroom of love, of learning, and that it's no longer good or bad. No longer having an opinion about situations and their worth. What did you learn? What divine truth was available for learning in that situation? And it doesn't matter what it is, what situation it is. It's all for learning. Let's say there's somebody that lives down the street that has a motorcycle, and you are just determined that I'm going to count how many times that motorcycle comes down that street and how loud it is every time. I'm determined to be right. These are old agreements. These are old beliefs of being unfairly treated. And instead, the Holy Spirit is calling you to a learning that this is your beloved and that the motorcycle means nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that you must love. To have the truth of love in your heart, you have to give all to all, which means you must love that beloved who rides the motorcycle and see them as the Christ. To see them, my heart is an unset jewel upon existence, waiting for the friend's touch. You're waiting for God's touch. But how can God reach out and touch you if you're not available, if you're in a righteous indignation of something that you believe has happened to you? When what you truly want is to rest in God, to rest in the truth of love, moment to moment, in the happiness. Each moment is happy. Each moment is joyful by choice, because it's your choice whether you live in joy or you live in upset and anger and self-destruction. It's all in the mind and the opening of the heart. To really see that each soul is in need of the breath of the Christ. Each soul is in the need of the breath of the Christ. You can bring the breath of the Christ to each soul by seeing the divine that is each beloved and not having any personal beliefs that they are doing anything other than that you're there to learn to love them, to offer love, to give all to all without exceptions. And every single time that you have a reaction that is not just peace, which you wouldn't even see that as a reaction because it's a state of being, but every time you have a reaction, that it's the opportunity of recognizing that you think you know something and that you're in a battle, and it's the opportunity of healing, to return to love, to truly return to the truth of love. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength, your own belief of what you think you know. And fear is anger. Fear is resentment. Fear is any kind of upset. It's all fear. And it's a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength, the strength that is not the strength of God, not the truth of God. And love is calling you to surrender all of that and recognize that nothing, every moment is only love. In this moment, you have the opportunity of anything that's happened today, that you believe happened today, that you had a reaction to in some way, that you judged good or bad, that you liked or you didn't like. You have the opportunity of, in this moment, of surrendering the whole day and all that you thought you knew about it, and the willingness to accept the teachings of the Spirit of love and forgive the day of anything that you marked as good or bad or better or worse, but just surrender it all into the hands of the Holy Spirit. And to have this opportunity in every day to use it to its fullest. A day of love, a day of learning, a schoolroom of love. Divine purpose.